Alright, hello, my name is Aaron. Test. Um, so, someone had commented on a video about fingerstyle, learning fingerstyle, getting better at fingerstyle, and things like that. And they had also expressed interest in doing a fingerstyle version of Unlucky Skin, another Shaky Grave song, which I do play frequently. I'm not totally sure I would play that song fingerstyle on guitar. I'll leave that up to you, but what I wanted to do today, and maybe I'll make a tutorial on it just as far as the notes and the fingerings go for that song. It's very similar to banjo. Banjo is essentially in an open tuning. So if you treat kind of the banjo as the middle, the middle four strings of your guitar, you can kind of suss it out. But I'll do a more in-depth one, a guitar-focused tutorial of that in the future. But today I wanted to kind of go over fingerpicking, how I learned to fingerpick the songs that I used, and just ways that you can practice getting better. It's a video I've kind of been meaning to make, but also been kind of it's a daunting video because fingerpicking for me especially is a very I don't want to say innate because I worked a lot on getting good at it, but it's a hard thing to describe. It's a hard thing for me to teach because it's essentially just a lot of work. In theory, it's not hard. It's kind of like the rubbing your head or patting your head and rubbing your stomach thing at the same time. It's like when you get it, and then things get easier from there. But learning it in the first place can seem very daunting and almost impossible. It's like my limbs don't do this, my fingers don't do this, and naturally that's probably true. But once you get used to the kind of the basics of fingerpicking, I think it becomes something that's not only a great way to play the guitar, but a more interesting and more nuanced way of playing the guitar. Tosin Abasi, I think it was, said, why would you use a pick when you have, technically five, but four fingers at your disposal? Most people don't use their pinky. Some people use their pinky, like flamenco guitar players somehow use their pinky. I don't. I hardly even use my ring finger, but, it's all about practice, which is kind of the not so secret to being good at anything. But the songs that I used to understand fingerpicking more, there's really two that I can pinpoint to, and these are the kind of the songs that I first started learning on guitar. It just so happened that they were fingerstyle, and I really wanted to learn them, so I started learning them. My fingerstyle journey began. It's not really a journey, but it sort of is. Whatever. It began in high school when I took a guitar class. when I took a guitar class. And my music teacher and I was in the class. I didn't have a lot of friends in the class. It was a lot of band people, and I wasn't in band in high school, so I didn't know anybody. So all I did the whole time was actually play and learn guitar. So there was this one song. There was a finger-picked version of Scarborough Fair that we learned that was really cool, and I got really into it. And then I started finger-picking more on my own, to the extent that I played a lot of guitar in high school. I didn't play a whole bunch, but I like to pick it up every once in a while. And I taught myself kind of what I think is kind of like dust in the wind. I don't know. It's essentially just over a C. And you're going C, D, E, D. That's unimportant. But I was obsessed with it, and then I heard, so the first song that I learned fingerpicking is Landslide, classic Fleetwood Mac song. And I didn't learn like the full bore Lindsey Buckingham version, because that version is amazing, and at the time I probably could not learn it and haven't really tried to learn it since. I probably should, because I really do like the song. But and this is when I was first learning guitar. So the first challenge there were two challenges. One was the actual fingerpicking, and the other was switching chords quick enough and this is a challenge even if you're playing with a pick, is to make it sound good. So why don't we just focus on this for a minute? Just kind of for the first part too, what the verses are over. And what I did, as pretty much any musical instrument that you are playing that requires two hands, piano, or well, like saxophone requires two hands, but you wouldn't necessarily do this with that. Any musical instrument that you are doing multiple parts of a song at a time, that require a lot of dexterity in both hands, that's relative, but the best way to do it is to do each hand separately and then join them together. And so what I would do is I would just fret the chords, and the chords are C, 3rd fret A string, 2nd fret D string, open G, 1st fret B string, and then G over B, which is 2nd fret A string, open D, open G, 3rd fret B string, and then A minor 7, which is open A, 2nd fret D string, open G, 1st fret B string, and back to G over B. Kind of just alternating chords between your G over B's. So C, G over B, A minor 7, G over B, C, G over B, A minor 7, G over B, and that's the chords. And so practice fretting those, and moving your fingers quickly, and then with the right hand you just practice doing the motions. And this song's fairly simple because you're only using the middle 4 strings, at least the beginning. You think you go to like G or something in the chorus, but all you have to practice is this. So, and this is called Travis picking. You're essentially you're doing an alternating thumb pattern, and you're striking strings in between your thumb. So A string, G string, D string, B string. You're kind of using your pointer finger on your G string, your middle finger on your B string, and then your thumb is switching in between. So open A with the thumb, pointer finger G string, open D with the thumb, middle finger B string. Stays that way the whole time. So one other things you can do are either do it slowly, maybe even slower than that, or practice with your thumb, kind of get the rhythm, and then start throwing your fingers in. But once you get this down, then the whole world of fingerpicking will kind of open up to you. And there's no real way to I don't think there's any real tricks to fingerpicking. I think it's kind of just something that you have to kind of, I mean, really there's no tricks to learning guitar at all. I mean, there are things that make it easier, but practice is really the only way that these things can be achieved. So that's that. And I would just practice the opening. If you want to learn the whole song, there's 1.5 million tutorials on how to play it, the easy and the hard versions. But I would just practice on that verse part, and that'll help you get good at Travis style, and then Travis style kind of opens itself up to the alternating thumb pattern, which can help you get good at other things. I mean, I'm not hugely familiar with types of fingerpicking and things like that. I got good at Travis style, and then other songs I would just kind of suss out with my ear or just pick at them until I found something that was acceptable. And then there's another song that I think is really good for the thumb that I hope I can still play. It's been a really long time, but it's called Stumbling. And it's a little more intricate. Smashing Pumpkins. It's a beautiful guitar part. It's really great. I forgot the name of the guy. I think he's Japanese. I don't remember his name, but he wrote a really good part. So you're kind of doing not really Travis at all, and this part is kind of something I just kind of sussed out, and it might not even be correct, but I think it sounds really similar. So my thumb is kind of floating. I'm hitting that. What I think is most important about this song, as far as my learning goes, is this little thumb part. And it goes into a larger thumb part, but that's one thing. It's not even necessarily about the part. It's using the thumb, because the thumb is ridiculously important in fingerpicking, but all fingers are. But the thumb is doing the brunt of the work. It's doing your bass. And it's moving the most, and it has the most strings to cover, usually, depending on how you fingerpick. I mean, usually your thumb is kind of relegated to these top 3 strings, sometimes even that 4th string, like in The Needle and the Damage Done. I'd have to start it. I'm using my thumb. So the thumb is a really is a key part of fingerpicking, but I think it's also kind of the easiest part, because it's similar to the feeling of a pick. Like the pick kind of sits against your thumb, so if you just throw away the pick, your thumb is still kind of like it's in that same position. So I think it's the easiest one to get used to. The hard part about getting your thumb is just getting it up to strength and used to doing repetitive movements. But this, like, kind of traveling along those strings straight down is a good way to get your thumb used to moving in between strings minutely, and then also the jump from your D to your E string, because that's common. A lot of people will alternate between E and D, or E and A, or A and D, but the jump can be from E to D can be a little daunting at first. So what you're doing is you're fretting 7th fret low E string and 9th fret A string, just kind of arpeggiating that from E to D twice, and then you only hit your top 2 strings, your low 2 strings. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, and E A D E A D E A E A D E A D. He kind of throws in this open E in between switching chords. E A D E A D E A D E A D. So just kind of pull your finger up. So yeah, I've practiced that. Just something like that. You get your thumb moving, and once you can feel your thumb once you feel the movement of your thumb become more natural, you can start adding fingers in between, and doing things like that. Yeah, the finger picking, like I said, it's not even if I were like in a physical class with a student, I'm not totally sure how I would approach teaching them finger picking, because you can even like grabbing someone's fingers and manipulating them to do the right thing is kind of impractical. It's something you have to practice, and you have to break down into its parts. So your thumb and your fingers, they're kind of doing two different things. You have your thumb, which is dealing with bass lines and alternating bass notes, and then your fingers, which are dealing with melody notes and chords and things like that. Another thing that I've said in past videos is the pinch motion of kind of, sometimes you'll get songs where the melody notes are striking at the same time. This is another style of finger picking. It might be like a variation of Travis, but instead of kind of this flowy thing, you get, and so you're basically just picking or pinching at your strings. It's kind of like, if you can think about that motion. So there I'm hitting my bass note, which is C. I'm up over a C chord, and then every time I hit my second bass note, alternating to that E on the second fret D string, I'm hitting a melody note from G and switching from G to C, C being fretted by my first finger on the B string. And to do that, again, just separate the hands. Just kind of get used to that too. That motion can be a little weird, having your fingers come together. Pick a string, pick 3 strings, or even just 2 strings, and practice pinching them with both fingers, I would say. And your ring finger too, once you start to get more used to finger picking and things, maybe get your ring finger in there. It's a little bit of a harder finger to, a lot of people don't even use their ring finger when they finger pick. I think you should. I think it's a good thing to be able to do, because then you can do more interesting things. My ring finger's not super strong. I still finger pick all the time. It's certainly not necessary, but it's cool to be able to do it, and add whatever flair you might be able to find with your ring finger. But that's pretty much that. And then once you get really good at it, your fingers will just start to kind of free themselves up. Like, you'll start to feel, finger picking will feel more natural. You can finger pick and then kind of come out of it and go back to it. You'll feel the rhythm of finger picking. And that's another great thing that finger picking does, is it establishes a rhythm really well. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a great way to play guitar. I love finger picking. It's how I first learned guitar, not even really on purpose. I just found songs that I wanted to learn that were finger picked, and I learned those, and I really enjoyed it, so I just kind of kept doing it, and made other songs that weren't finger picked into finger picking songs, and it's a really great way. And that's another thing that's important, I think, about learning fingerpicking is find a song that makes use of it that you really, really like, you really want to play, so you're motivated to learn it, and then focus on it. Focus on the chords, split the two tasks, figure out the finger movements, what kind of finger style they're actually doing. Travis, simplify it too. Some good finger pickers might be doing things that are not just find a rhythm that works, either Travis or pinch picking or whatever, and and figure that out. Yeah, and that's really all I can say. Like, it's kind of a big part of it is just figuring it out, and kind of having that aha moment, or not even really an aha moment. It's um, it's an aha process. Things become more and more easy, and finger picking becomes more and more natural as you do it more, and as you practice it more, and as it starts to feel more natural. And that's really all I can say on that. There might be people who have a lot better finger picking videos out there, certain tricks and practice routines. I haven't looked at those, so I don't know. But yeah, that's the 2 cents that I can provide. And that's that. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there. Hope everyone has a good weekend. It's Thursday. Yeah, and then I'll catch you later. Bye.